코인사이트! 안녕하세요. 코인사이트의 송다솜입니다. 고도로 중앙 집권화된 전통적인 금융산업은 특정 대형 금융기관의 보증과 지원에 크게 의존을 하고 있는데요. 예를 들어서 핀테크 산업에서는 금융기관으로부터의 정보를 구매하는 경우를 제외하고는 고객의 신용도를 객관적으로 측정할 수 있는 방법이 전무해서 비효율성이 증대되고 있습니다. 또한 고객은 자신의 민감한 금융정보 데이터 관리에 대한 우려가 극심해지고 있는데요. 이러한 상황을 해결하고자 하여 나타난 프로젝트가 있으니 이름하여 Distributed Credit Chain DCC. 오늘 이 자리에 DCC의 CEO인 스튜이가 비행기를 타고 왔다고 합니다, 여러분. 우리 함께 만나볼까요?
DCC.
Hi, Stewie.
Hi, Dasom.
Hi, Dasom.
Dasom.
Stewie, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stewie, and I'm the founder of the DCC project, Distributed Credit Chain. And I'm from China, and I was a serial entrepreneur, which means I created a couple of companies before I jumped into blockchain industry.
Tell me about distributed credit chain more detail.
So basically, DCC is a decentralized credit ecosystem, which enables the financial services in a very decentralized way. So what we do is we provide a data transferring protocol. So DCC is a transferring protocol rather than a straightforward like cryptocurrency borrowing and lending app. So we provide a brand new decentralized data protocol to every single business parties in the credit line. For example, the banks, micro lending platforms, third-party payment companies, big data collectors, or data analytical companies. So that is what we do, and we try to provide this decentralized protocol to the traditional companies in the credit business. DCC.
What drove you to have created the project?
Well, when I graduated from Yale, it was 2008. That is a financial crisis. We were forced to choose to be a student. So in next 10 years, like we're keep thinking, or we were being educated to investigate the reason of this world-renowned credit crisis. So internet finance or fintech is actually deal with what we call the shadow banking market. So I found there were even more problems in the shadow banking system. Most of the financial services, if they are provided by traditional or licensed financial institutions like banks, trust companies, and they are regulated. So that means the government, they can see it, but shadow banking is outside the licensed financial system, and that is the biggest motivation for me to create this decentralized credit project. Because when I see blockchain as a technology, I think, oh wow, that is a technology. It might be, applied to the credit area and provide a very useful solution. And I also seen a very successful example by Ripple Network, because it used blockchain technology to solve the foreign exchange problem. It's like quite related in the financial services.
The second question is, in the DCC protocol, how is the data exchange?
Okay, wow, very good question. So all your financial data, they're not saved fully on the chain. The chain only saves your hash summaries. So we save the hash summaries, and the user can hold their data on their own choice. So it actually retains the ownership of the data to the individual. So if all the banks, they work with the DCC, or they are build up their brand new lending services onto this new DCC protocol, so they do not have to spend money to build up their risk profile one by one. They just use one DCC, a unified DCC profile. So in our protocol, all this, you only have one unified ID, which is called the DCC profile. In the traditional way of transferring those financial data, because they have all the data, so it makes like a very extremely low efficiency, because every single institutions, they want to complete same guy's risk profile. So they spend a lot of money, and that market is obviously no personnel privacy, you know, nothing like that. So it causes a lot of problem. So privacy problem. So now what we do is we use a decentralized way.
This is it. How credit bureau calculates and validates each individual's credit rating through the platform.
So basically, the credit bureau, most of their work is they record and validate the data. They do not analyze it. So which means they do not provide a score because they want the very like a strong kind of like independency as the third party. Okay, so that is the first thing. So how do, and the second thing is like their data collection ability is sort of like weak because there were so many data providers and there were so many data outside of it. So for us, like for like very certain cases, when we need the credit report from the bureau, we will ask the individuals to upload it and onto this DCC, like the chain system. But normally, like we treat them as like one of the, you know, data collectors, and there might be 100 or 500 data collectors or data or big data analytical startups on the DCC network. Yeah.
DCC.
It is obvious that each country has their own different standards of the credit assessment.
Yeah.
In the DCC protocol, how does differences can take account of together?
Well, okay, so that's a very good question. When we choose to enter into one country, we will do a lot of research before we jump in.
Yeah.
So we will change the protocol to make it being able to adapt that country's online, credit system. The second thing is like normally they do not have big difference. Some sort of like internet advanced countries with a big number of population, like Korea, China, they have a lot of things in common on the credit system. So it's actually not very hard.
Do research and update.
Yeah.
DCC.
What financial services will be available in the future to the public through the DCC platform other than loan services?
Well, so far we only focus exclusively on the credit problem. So the credit business line is very long. So you have like a lot of different sectors if you chop it up. And we provide the services for each parties who are involved into those credit business. And also we're not only focusing on the fiat money, we also work with some cryptocurrency, borrowing and lending companies or startups. And but it's the same, like we provide the data service for them. So we do not intervene their business line.
Can you explain the diagram? Like there is your protocol layer, the blockchain, and then the information provider.
Yeah, it's on top of it.
On top of?
Yeah, on top of the protocol. It's the information provider. So you will see the first would be the online traffic provider. I want to apply a loan from internet. So there are some sort of like big platforms. There are like so many loan providers onto the advertisement platforms that you can choose. Okay, so that's the first. Then you have the borrowing and lending apps. Then you have the institutions who actually provide the qualification for land, for example, like banks, as well as the institutions or even individuals who provide the capital, provide the money stuff. Then you have like alternative payment companies, right? Because you have to send the money, online.
Yes.
So that kind of like is a gate can connect with the real world financing and the internet financing. Then you would have the data collectors. Because all those institutions, they need to, the different dimensions of them. Maybe they don't have it, they will look at someone or look at some institutions to collect the data. And then you will have those AI companies or risk analytical companies. They will use that data after the approval. They will have to give you a score, something like that. Then you have if the bad things happen, then it's like someone did not pay the money right in time. It will have debt collectors. So every single business parties into that business, they moved their traditional business onto the DCC network. So at the data layer, they will only have one single unified DCC ID, and so individuals can circulate it anywhere on their own willingness.
You mean there will be remove or they use this DCC protocol?
They will use this DCC protocol. Yeah.
C. Do you have something to tell our subscriber?
Well, so yeah, I want you to thank you.
Thank you.
Tason. I want the Korean people to pay attention to our project.
DCC.
The DCC project. I want you to know us, and we also invite any subscribers who are in the fintech industry interested in the decentralized credit ecosystem to talk to us, to join us. And we want the talented people, and we want to put Korean market as the biggest market now for our project in our roadmap. So if you have any more questions, please find me or find Tason. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So just say goodbye to our subscriber. 1, 2, 3. 안녕. 안녕 is Korean.
Okay,
goodbye.
I watch a lot of Korean dramas. So
okay. 1, 2, 3. 안녕.
안녕.